to your house.
She's not gonna do it. Leave her.
We're coming back in 5 minutes. Bang it to your house. We're coming back in 5 minutes. Bang it to your house. You was airing me. Huh?
Chief, I'm gonna pull them pom-poms off.
Okay.
I don't know what's... Listen, you've got shit to deal with. Deal with it, man. So, this is a different episode, or at least a different type of episode, for episode 14 of my series, Something About Strangers. It's something of a darker tone. Now, in previous episodes, there's pretty much 95% of all the previous 13 episodes have been me encroaching on people's spaces. Actually, no, like 60% has been the case. Like CK versus Drunk Guy in Library, which was episode 3. That was me just going up to a guy that started singing in a library, and that was a wonderful experience. And then other ones like CK's Bus Stop Romance, which was episode 12. That was me approaching a guy and having a great time. They're usually fun. Sometimes people just stumble into my life, but this one is a little bit different because the tone is a little bit darker. And I was recently in Haggerston, London, undertaking a photo shoot with one of my favourite singer-songwriter humans, Phoebe, and we were just hanging out, having a laugh, shooting, and it was hot as hell, so I was burning, basically. And it was getting towards the end of the shoot, and then a series of teens, I reckon they must have ranged in age from, say, 15 up to 18. There was probably about 6 of them, and they suddenly embarked on a verbal assault on tenants of a block of flats across the road. I don't really know what they were talking about because I wasn't, if I'm brutally honest, that bothered. But then the verbal assault took a bit of a darker turn, in so much as they started using terms which I've actually genuinely, hand on heart, had to Google, because one of them says, like, what's the word he used? So he says she's airing me. Like, I don't know what the hell airing me means. I had to Google that, and apparently airing means when you're talking nonsense. So I think he took exception to someone talking nonsense or airing him. And then things escalated. We had a little exchange because then he suddenly realised that he was interrupting my shoot, and all of a sudden he turned into Mr. Diplomacy, which was quite odd. But anyway, then he continued, and it's something he said just before I stopped recording. And he said, he turned to one of his, I won't say gang mates because they're just mates, but he turned to one of his mates and he said, should I get my shank? Now, again, until about 3-4 years ago, I didn't even know what a shank was, but I now know that a shank is a knife or a sharp implement used for inflicting, let's say, more than a paper cut on someone. He said, should I go and get my shank? Now, if you look at my response when he says that to his friend, you'll actually notice that I found it mildly amusing. Now, obviously, I don't find knife crime I just don't find it amusing, but at the time, I didn't fully compute what he said. I've got to be honest with you. Bearing in mind, I was in the middle of a photo shoot at the time. They just descended upon where I was. I wasn't paying that much attention to them. He said something, and if I'm brutally honest with you, it just seemed like teenage posturing rather than an actual act he intended to undertake. He just said, should I go and get my shank? It's only since yesterday, when I was watching BBC's The Met, which is one of my favourite series ever on the BBC. If you're not watching The Met, you really have to. And The Met is a docu-series going behind the scenes of the Metropolitan Police, warts and all. It's quite a remarkable thing, the amount of access the BBC have had. And it's not like necessarily a PR stunt for the Met Police, because it's showing them in all lights, good, bad and indifferent. And it's just a remarkable show, and I love it. And one of the things they feature a lot on there is knife crime in London, which is rife, and so many people are losing their lives as a result of knife crime. So I was watching that yesterday, and then I thought back to what happened on Friday during my shoot with Phoebe, when there's this teenage saying, should I get my shank? And all of a sudden I'm thinking, fuck, like, I don't know, it's just weird. So this episode of Something About Strangers is something of a darker tone, but I committed to just making this series, and warts and all, for the most part, it's always going to be fun and light-hearted and have a bit of a giggle. But this one, alas, despite me having a bit of a giggle myself, really not that funny. So, by the way, I've blurred out their faces in this video for 2 reasons. Firstly, this isn't about me saying, look at these teenagers, identify them, go and have a word. That's not what this is about. Like, this is just me illustrating something that I just saw, and I speculate is something that is potentially quite common amongst a certain group of teens in London or anywhere in the UK or anywhere. I don't know. So this isn't about that. That's why I blurred out their faces, because I don't really think it's about saying, demonising them and saying go and get them. And the second reason I've blurred out the faces is I don't want them hunting me down and stabbing me. But that probably won't happen. I don't even know if I just said that. Anyway, listen, something about strangers. Cheers.
Where is it?
Mate, can you just wave, guys, for my online YouTube channel?
He's coming back. He's coming back.
I've just been on this guy's. Sorry. I hope we're still friends. Sorry, man. I'll get out. What a guy. Yeah, I'll use this instead. Poor guy. This might be the better option anyway. There you go.
Okay, ready?
I think we should both look at it. I mean,
Just both put them on the same time. That's your intro. That's your intro.
pretty much.
Definitely.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I know I wasn't, but
We know you're there. Last of folks will bring in. Hey, fuck her, man.
Hey, bang it to your house.
Hey, she's not gonna do it. Leave her.
We're coming back in 5 minutes. Bang it to your house. We're coming back in 5 minutes. Bang it to your house. You was airing me. Huh?
Chief, I'm gonna pull them pom-poms off.
Okay.
I don't know what's. We'll just carry on. Pabs.
I'm trying to do a picture for you. Come,
That's kind of you, man. Don't worry. Listen, you've got shit to deal with. Deal with it, man. You ain't waiting for no punk from Sheffield. Just get on with it. These guys. Right. Okay. I love the way it was all the bitch talk, then suddenly it's like, oh, sorry, man. Okay. I know. I know. I know. Should I get my shank? It's Peb. Can you see us? I can't.